We need to make sure that economic growth doesn't come at a cost of negative economic impact.
Because we have finite resources, and in a few years we will be using 3 or 4 times more than the Earth can provide. That can't continue.
The impacts of transport, the impacts of waste, all of those things mean that cities just have to get better at managing their resources.
Circular economy is a model that allows decision makers, economic decision makers, whether they're in companies or in corporations, organizations and governments, to start thinking about how to best utilize our scarce resources.
For the first time in the planet's history, more people live in cities now than they do in the countryside, so it becomes increasingly important.
We need to make sure we're using the resources available to us as efficiently as possible, and that means planning the use of those resources from the very beginning.
We are the economic development company for the city of Peterborough, and we want to help the city have a sustainable economy over the next few years, and particularly by 2050.
We have strong connection with organisations and governments to develop this, and in the future we want to grow it and understand how to help the city become more resource efficient, to build businesses that help support the city through improving business rates and avoid resource inefficiency and help develop jobs in people's lives.
We were looking at policies or best practices in policies and developments in that area, and the work in Peterborough was one of the areas that we picked up on.
Peterborough has been at the forefront of the circular economy. It's our creative hub, I think, which has really pushed this through. We've got some very clever people working for Peterborough City Council as well as Peterborough generally.
Peterborough are doing a fantastic job. We're really delighted to be here today and have that relationship with the team at Peterborough, so we can learn from what they're doing.
I'm sure it's going to be one of the pioneering initiatives in the country and probably in the world.
The day worked really well because there were about 100 people here from all over the country and all over the world actually.
The networking aspect is incredibly helpful, because it's great that people from different areas can work collaboratively from different sort of ends of the spectrum in the circular economy, but supporting each other.
There were people from cities, from universities, from community groups, so it was great to see what was happening in cities around the country and around Europe.
The event today was fantastic, very inspirational speakers.
Fabulous today. People came up to me and said somebody came up and said this is the best event they've ever been to.
Very important that we have a movement for change, that the circular economy could be a very powerful, motivating influence.
It's an excellent example of where you have actually got the policymakers, the academics and the businesses all in the room talking and looking to collaborate.
A lot of interest from the people that have come to see the speakers as well.
Because there isn't a lot of data on what's happening on a really broad scale, events like this help take those things happening in isolation and bring them together.
There's still a lot of gaps in our knowledge around the circular economy, and what's really exciting about a place like this is that you get to meet the people who can help you to fill those gaps in.
We have the big why, all of us. Why should we do this? It's really important.
There's a lot of people from a lot of backgrounds working on different parts of this puzzle, and they're all like-minded individuals, and when they come together like this, really interesting ideas for the future come out.
We can be pioneers and share that information around the world going forward.
And the one overriding thing that comes out of it is how passionate people are about the importance of this particular topic, and we're absolutely determined as Peterborough to maintain that momentum and keep the dialogue going.
And that growing the movement, so to speak, as I said earlier, is a critical part of really gaining traction and movement towards a more sustainable future.